Doing the Streetview series has been some of the most fun I've had with videos on this channel in a long while. Going back and seeing Kings Island, Cedar Point, Canada's Wonderland, and even Michigan's Adventure being so different from how I remember them, it makes for not only fun videos to watch, but also fun videos to make. However, what about a park that, even though the Streetview is from 2015, has barely changed at all during that time? Well, that's what we're about to find out today as we dive our way into the one and only Ronde. Okay, so I'm actually recording this literally like 20 seconds after I got done the Michigan's Adventure one. So we're gonna go see if Ronde has enough to make a video on. The problem with Ronde compared to the other four is I have only visited this park once. I did visit for 3 days, fortunately. But I visited in 2020, so it's not like not everything was fully completed, and also it was 2020, not 2023, so there's also 3 years difference from when I last visited to nowadays. Although I don't think really much has changed at Ronde, let's be real. They get less updates than Michigan's Adventure does. Something that is kind of interesting straight off the bat just from satellite view though, is that Super Menage is still here. I don't know how old this satellite view is actually. And I don't think that there's anything that's going to tell me how old it is. Is there Vipere track on site? I guess that's the real telling thing. There is not, so this is before 2019. Because, or I guess before 2020, because if it was 2020, there would be Vipere track back here. But there isn't. Also, RIP Vipere. I wanted it to be a thing, but no, we don't get it. We don't get a god-awful Zack spin. There's POIs over here. I wonder what year these are from. Hey, this one's from September 2023. They still have a lot of switchbacks over here. Why are there so many? What? There's like more switchbacks out in front of the park entrance here than there were when I went in 2020. I thought that was just a COVID thing, but I guess not. Let's go into actual Street View. Let's see how old it is. 2015, okay. So we can actually talk about this. Oh wait, that's something as well. The sign has changed here. This isn't something that I have video of, because the sign was still the same when I went in 2020, but I just noticed it from that POI spot here. They finally changed it to the modern Six Flags logo, which is kind of neat. But the rest of the front of the park is pretty similar. Entering into the middle of the park here, something, again, it's similar to Canada's Wonderland and Kings Island, where you don't see as many of these pop-up, like, stands anymore. Like, you don't really see a lot of this stuff. Wonder what that tent is. I don't know. On one side, it showed, like, people in it, but then now there's not. Yeah. This showed that it was like an attraction of sorts. Maybe it's like pictures or something, but then when I go here, there's no one. Weird. Man, it's been a long time since I went to 2020, or when I went to Ronde, now that I think about it. It's been almost 4 years. 3.5 years. Sheesh. I have a feeling that this is going to be very similar to Michigan's Adventure, where I just kind of walk around not saying anything because nothing has changed. The biggest change that's happened since just like straight up ripping the band-aid off, the biggest change that's happened between 2015 and now is obviously the removal of Cobra back here, which was their Intamin? B&M? One of the two. Intamin, I was right, yeah, their Intamin stand-up coaster, which got removed in 2016. That's obviously the biggest change in the park. Are the supports on Le Vampire different colors? Because all of this is like purple, but then over here it's like black. I think it might just be the lighting, but yeah, I think it is. Okay. This, even though it was in the middle of the pandemic, this was still a really fun trip going to Ronde. And like Le Vampire was my 100th roller coaster. That's a really like important and special moment. And it's also a really, really good coaster. Like, it's my number 3. That's how good it is. Ronde was a great park. It's absolutely something that gets hated on way too much. This building is also kind of different. Oh man, you guys are gonna love my French pronunciation in this video. Oh, it's gonna be so awful. Oh my god, yeah. But yeah, La Bouchée du Vampire. This is different now. It's a Rolopan location. Another thing that's different for La Ronde is that their go-karts are removed. They got removed and replaced with a Zamperla. I want to say it's a Giant Discovery, Giga Discovery, one of the two. I always confuse the two in my head. But it got replaced with a Zamperla Giant Discovery called Titan, which is really good. It's my favorite pendulum ride that I've been on. That was really fun. But they kept this, like, really weirdly tall entrance building, but there's a cool, like, statue on the top of it now. It still have the breakdance. This is a great little flat ride. I was not expecting this to be this fun, but not that many places have breakdances, which is sad. Not in North America, at least. More parks need to get breakdances. Something that's sad is that the mini rail is closed, like, permanently now. Which sucks! It was closed in 2020, obviously, because of COVID. But then it's closed permanently, and I remember someone in my La Ronde review commented that one of the reasons why it closed is because people on the mini rail kept spitting on people on the path below them, and, like, if that's not the most Montreal thing I've ever heard. Was there a log flume back here in Fort Edmonton? That certainly wasn't there when I went in 2020. I guess that's what the logs are from, then. That would make sense. For like 4 years, I've been wondering why there were logs back here in the storage area next to Le Vampire. I guess that makes sense, because there used to be a log flume here. Yeah, there it is. This is a really weird section of the park, you know, Fort Edmonton. Like, I think part of it was I went in 2020, and so almost every building in here was closed off. Because this literally, like, it's like a western town, obviously, but it literally felt like a ghost town. I think I have some video of it, like, no one being in here either. I think I was, like, when I walked in here, I was, like, the only person in this section of the park. Oh, that's something that's different in the kids area over here. There's no longer a McDonald's here, which has always been kind of weird to me that there was one in the first place. I can't think of any other park that's had a McDonald's in it, but that McDonald's closed before my time. We are gonna walk down here, and we're gonna talk about not much, because you know what? Not much has changed in this park. It's actually kind of interesting. Like, I made this point with Michigan's Adventure that, like, compared to, like, Kings Island, Canada's Wonderland, Cedar Point, those parks changed so much in the last 13 years from when the Streetview from there was. This was only 9 years ago, and almost all of the park is identical to how it is nowadays. The only things that's different is that certain rides have been removed. Like, nothing new has been added. Stuff has been removed since this, with, like, nothing to show for it. Like Super Menage over here, which was their Vekoma Looper, which, as you can see, doesn't exist anymore. I want to go back to La Ronde, but it's just so expensive getting back to Montreal, and it's hard to do it from where I live without driving, and I don't want to drive the whole way there. It's like a 12-hour drive, and if I'm driving 12 hours for a park, why not just go to, like, Carowinds? Did their Condor get a repaint? Do I have a video of Condor? Hang on a second. No. Yes, I do. It's on the other monitor. It doesn't look like it. I think I'm just... Why is this so shaky? What? Why was that video so shaky? Yeah, I'm, like, actually kind of at, like, a loss for words almost on what to talk about in this video, because nothing has changed. I mean, the thing is, stuff has probably changed. I just don't know if it has, because my La Ronde, like, my version of La Ronde is one that's 3 years in the past. I never got to ride Le Monster. I really wanted to, but it was closed the 3 days that I was there. It might have been closed for the whole season, I think it was. But yeah, Le Monster wasn't open. Dragon, which is their indoor Intamin, wasn't open. Those were the 2 coasters that weren't open. But then I also didn't ride Le Marche du Moupat because, again, it was a kiddie coaster, and I'm over the maximum height requirement. Again, just talking about Ghost Town, and like 2020 being a ghost town, all of these buildings were completely closed. Like, I didn't even know that they had, like, Midway games down here. I thought that these were just actually blank buildings. What's that? Bigfoot paintball? Le Ronde had a paintball arena? How did I not know that? That's really cool. And there's a statue of Bigfoot out here, too. What? That's whack. But, you know what? That's Le Ronde. Good old demon. Amazing flat ride. Aw, this arcade was closed when I went, too. Everything was closed when I went. Observation Tower was closed. That was another ride that I was really disappointed was closed. Like, it makes sense, obviously, but it would have been cool to get a nice view of not just Le Ronde, but also, like, Montreal in general. Oh, wait, this is something that's different that I can actually talk about. Something different in the park. Whoa! This La Poutine du Québec is now a chicken place called Poulet Etc. And this Valentine place got absorbed into it. This was an awful place, by the way. If you're going to Le Ronde, I would recommend not going to the chicken place that's here. It was probably the worst park food that I've ever had. The other food in the park was alright. Like, there's a pizza place back over near Goliath that was pretty good. But, yeah, don't go to the chicken place next to Le Galopin. This is something also that's always been kind of strange to me, Maison Rouge. Because it's a year-round haunted house that the park had. Like, it's like it was basically a haunt attraction, but they ran it year-round. Which is honestly a cool idea. Like, I feel like Universal could get away with that. Because they're known for how good, like, Hollywood Horror Nights is. Okay, this is something that's been bugging me for like 3.5 years. I really want to know what's back here. Okay, so this is like an amphitheater for like live shows. And then back here is like a staff-only area. I'm gonna tell an anecdote that's slightly incriminating. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little bit. When I went to Le Ronde in 2020, obviously this amphitheater wasn't open, Maison Rouge wasn't open, most of the stuff around here wasn't. But I did walk down here on one of the days because I wanted video of Goliath. And you can't really get good video inside of the park of Goliath, so I walked down here thinking, oh, maybe there's like a fence or something and I could like just hold my camera up a bit high and then get a good video of the drop. And I found this little courtyard area over here, and so I went into it. There was nothing like marked in English or French that said that it was a staff-only area. There was no gate like blocking it off, or like the gate wasn't like propped open. There just wasn't a gate. I walk in here. It doesn't look like it's like a staff-only area. It just looks like it's a really run-down dining spot, like picnic spot. And I thought, oh, okay, that's a bit strange that it's a bit off of the beaten path from other like food places. But I guess if you have like the place for it, maybe you can have something. I thought that this was like a dining building that was just closed because of COVID. So I walk in here, I get video of Goliath. I have a couple clips of it, and I'm happy with that. I go to walk out, and then 2 employees come up to me, and they start yelling at me in French, and I speak a little bit of French, but it's like Ontario public school French, not actual French. And so I do like the awkward thing of like, could you repeat that in English, please? I tried my best to say that in French. And they just said, get out. And so I was like, oh, is this staff-only area? And then they were like, yeah. And then they like ushered me to get out. And I did. They didn't get me in trouble or anything. They just said leave because they obviously like knew that I was just mistaken. They didn't want to deal with me, I guess. So they just put me back out onto the normal path. Yeah, that was a weird interaction in La Ronde. It's one of the things that I remember the most about the park, funnily enough. Why are there McDonald's, like, there's, like, logos directing you to McDonald's from all the way around the park. It's like the Beast footprints in Rivertown. This is like a performance hall, isn't it? Or is it a haunted house? No, this is a haunted house. Yeah, that was another thing that was closed during COVID. Everything was closed during COVID. Goliath wasn't, though. Goliath, really good. It's one of my favorite B&M hypers, even though it's not a hyper. That's something that I think is kind of funny, actually. All 4 of my favorite B&M hyper models, like the model B&M hyper, all 4 of my favorite coasters from that model type are not hypers, because they're in order: Fury 325, then Leviathan, then Orion, then Goliath. Oh, wait, there's a Goliath gift shop back here? That wasn't open when I went. Come on. Aw, man, that would have been great. I have, like, nothing of Ronde merchandise. I have 2 magnets and that's it. It's really weird that Ronde has 2 entrances. Like, a lot of parks do have 2 entrances, but they're normally, like, a dry park gate and a water park gate. But Ronde doesn't have a water park. It just has 2 entrances, and the reason why this back one exists is because there's a lot of parking lot back here. Because the main parking lot is really whack. Like, it's a really thin, skinny parking lot. Some places in it, there's like 6 parking spots per column. It's just a really weird parking lot, and so obviously that's not enough room. So there's an excess parking lot back here, which... This is also such a narrow walkway, and it's really weird. Like, it's uncomfortable walking through this section of the park to get back to Ednor. Why do I not remember seeing the back entrance in 2020? I feel like I did, and I just, like, blocked it out of my mind because it was another thing that was closed, but... Yeah, that's still strange. Walking back here to Ednor, for some reason. Why would I be walking back to go to Ednor? I wouldn't be. I'd be walking back here to duck around another really uncomfortably small walkway to go ride Dragon instead. I would have done that, but actually it was closed in 2020. Haha! I trolled you. This and Le Monster are the 2 things that I really want to go back to the Ronde for. I want to see what Dragon is like, because it seems neat. And also, just like Michigan's Adventure, La Ronde is a dead-end park, so once you reach here, this is the end of the park and you have to turn back. I know a lot of people complain about that, and they say, hey, why don't you put a path that goes from this section over to near Titan? But the reason why is because all of this is backstage section that they need for their fireworks festival, which is something that they can't really get rid of because it's a massive draw to La Ronde in the summer, because this is one of the world's largest fireworks festivals. So you can't really get rid of that. And also there's a road back here. And it would be a bit weird having a path back here without anything on it. But also because you need it for International Lights, you can't really put any attractions or any shops back here. But anyways, that's La Ronde. Not a lot different. A lot of this was more just kind of my ramblings about the park. But anyways, that's going to be the end of the Streetview series. Maybe, depending on what parks I visit in 2024 this year, maybe I'll bring this series back for the summer. This idea is something that I want to have other people go ham with. If you have a home park that, like, you know a lot about and the street view on it is pretty old, then I would say just open OBS, get onto Street View and start talking about it, and then upload your videos, because this is a really cool idea, and I really would love to start watching videos about other people's home parks and just hearing what they have to say about how different it is from nowadays. So that's how I'm going to end off this video, just saying I really hope that other people will kind of be inspired by these videos to go and do their own videos about their parks' street views. So that's how I'm going to end this one out.